I guess I could mention that. I did have like an idea or two concerning the camera of all things, but
We are live, you know.
yeah, no, it's cool. Everyone
Oh,
just
so
make fun of me
we
now.
can't say the swear words anymore.
Can't say frick.
Oh, we actually can't.
Can't say frick.
Dang.
If you say frick, Emmanuel, I will go to your house and throw rocks through your window.
Man, that's heckin' uncool.
Is that...
Lapper did another video redrawing all 3 classic Sonic covers. He's been really at it with the redrawing stuff.
That is old, shit, what's it called? Hilltop Zone.
Boom, 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 boom.
I think in Greedy's new game. I think the
Rascal?
Project Rascal. The I think it's just built off the GT framework.
Oh yeah, you're right. I can see it now.
Yeah, it's built off GD, I believe.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. He put so much time into it, trying to make some money. I mean, I guess since we're on the topic, what do you think of it so far?
What, Project Rascal?
Yeah.
I've not seen a whole lot of it. I was mostly waiting until Sage to
Got it.
get a better idea on how it is.
Fine.
How's it going, Blackout? How you doing today? Also, I generally request that people hold off on using channel points during dev streams, because the focus of the dev stream is the dev part, not the
Stream.
stream stuff.
No fun allowed.
No fun allowed. Also, I hope you're
If you are having fun,
day.
so help Fizz, he's gonna come to your house and throw rocks through your window.
I feel like there's a reference here. Am I missing my reference? I feel like there's a
Oh my
reference.
god, you missed all the references, just like
Purple
Purple plants.
oh, you still to this day do not know what that is.
Yeah, no thanks to y'all. Y'all won't tell me.
Emmanuel has no idea what
Such
purple
a
plant is.
popular thing. It's such a popular clip. I'm
Okay,
so
if it's so popular, how come I don't know then, huh?
Because
Huh?
you're Emmanuel.
Oh, okay. That's fair. It just accepts it. It's like, okay.
Oh.
Did we talk about the squash and stretch last time?
Yes.
Dang.
You,
Well,
Yes.
by we, I guess you guys.
Because Emmanuel wasn't here.
because
Yeah.
Emmanuel was being productive and actually doing something.
Oh no, I was dead. Anyway,
You got better.
I got better.
So,
Actually, speaking of which, depending on how my work schedule is, I may not be available on Mondays at this time. It depends on if I work from home. Because I work from home, I may be able to tune in at 5 right when I get off. But if I don't work from home, I can't get home after I get off at 5, as you can imagine.
yeah. If we can, like, if I need to hold off by like an hour, we can. It's just something I didn't want to forget to do because like I said to Reese earlier, I woke up like an hour ago. And I'm like, shit, if I want to get anything done today, I want to get the dev stream over with first.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was out all day and only literally just got back in before the dev stream started.
Because
So, worked well.
my leg decided to kill me today. I fell asleep at 5 a.m. and then I woke up at 7 a.m. in excruciating pain. And sat there for about 30 minutes waiting for it to die down, and then I passed out again. And
Maybe-
here we are.
Maybe you should try some healing crystals, man.
Maybe I should hurt you. It's like, just suggest something, violence.
Get some topaz on.
Sounds like you need the Chaos Emeralds.
You mean the Chaos Emeralds?
Chaos control. The Chaos Emeralds are just healing crystals, actually.
Chaos control.
You see, that was it all along. All of the Chaos Emeralds were actually just healing crystals in the Sonic canon. And that's why Sonic becomes Supersonic, because he's fully healed.
That's
his true self.
That's why Eggman needs him, because he is sad and needs healing.
Yeah, exactly. Eggman is big depresso, so he needs the healing crystals.
More like the dopamine crystals.
Dopamine crystals. What's the soul emeralds then?
Crack.
Crack.
I mean, Blias is burning it. She's 420 burning it. And
I was going to say serotonin, but that works too.
It could be weed. You don't burn crack,
well, okay, fine. Shut up. All right, drugs. Burn.
But you can't actually burn crack.
And you would know.
Oh, the Boondocks told me.
All right. Anyway, it's been 6 minutes. Let's actually.
Let's go to 10. So, guys, you watched the game last night?
What game?
Yeah, the game.
The game. The game that Fizz is playing right now. The game.
I played a game.
Well, I didn't ask you what you played.
We asked if you saw it.
How's it going, Sleepy World? How you doing today?
I hear that name and it makes me think of a theme park.
Makes me think of Sleepy Jerry.
Makes me think of a Slippy Toad.
It makes me think of
amazing
dying. I don't know. You're good? That's good to hear. Alright. So to get things started off, I guess we'll just show the big thing first, because I don't know if I can show off some of these smaller things without accidentally showing it off. So the big thing that we have included, which if you had watched either the last DevStream or the devlog, I mentioned we would maybe do it. I hadn't decided yet, but went ahead and did it anyway. We have Sonic Heroes Canons.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I completely forgot we added that in since the last dev stream.
Of course,
we did that. We did that after the last dev stream.
Yeah, we did it after the last dev stream.
Oh yeah, it did help.
Got it imported straight in, and then Fizz got to work. I just imported it, so then we had it for later, and then Fizz was like, "Nah, I'm gonna do it now."
Because
wait, I didn't actually help.
All I did. All I've been doing, other than working on this these cannons, other than that, all I've been doing in the project is cleaning code, and I'm just like, fuck, I need to do something else to break up the monotony of cleaning code. So I'm just like, hey, these cannons need done. I'll just make the cannons.
And he did.
And I did.
And we're having way too much fun with them.
The cannons are insanely fun and very satisfying to use. Essentially, no, go ahead.
I was about to say, there's a tiny little jank with it, but to be honest,
I think I know what it is.
Well, yeah. The I think most of the jank related to it is visual. I think there is some mechanical jank to it, but it's not that huge of a deal. But
no.
Would you ever add the drop dash? We already did. The drop dash is already a thing.
Yeah.
It's been in the project since like nearly the beginning of it.
Yeah, we added the drop dash a long time ago.
Yeah, don't worry. We played Sonic Mania. We know a thing or two.
I think I know Sonic. I mean,
I used to go to high school with him.
I went to college.
I went to college.
Breaks drop dash.
Yeah, here's the drop dash.
He was always the popular kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let me change that back real quick. The cannons, technically, they function identically to springs, dash rings, and dash ramps. So, technically speaking, they're not like, they don't... At the current moment right now, they don't really have any additional features or functionality that make them unique in comparison to springs, ramps, or rings. They are essentially just a slower version of those like game objects. We are still planning on adding a few more features, but we'll discuss those in a little bit. But similarly to like dash ramps and springs, they have a pre-calculated mode in which you can determine a destination. I have actually a cannon right here set up for showcasing this stuff. You can create or set a predetermined destination that the cannon will try to fire you at. You can obviously adjust the debug time, how long the debug thing's set out for. The input delay helps dictate how long you will stick to the cannon's arc, as well as how long the actual input delay of launching from the cannon lasts. You can change the cannon's arc, so if you pick a smaller number, the arc will be sharper. If you pick a higher number, let's go like 0.8, the arc will be smaller.
That's a flat arc.
It is. It'll be a flatter arc. And the cannons have essentially two different modes. They have automatic and manual. This automatic launch boolean, which you can do. I need to alter the name. I apparently have misspelt it. The automatic launch boolean, whenever turned off, will allow you to manually launch yourself from the cannon at any point. All you got to do is just hit the jump button. So until then, you can't move or anything. You can't leave. All you got to do is just hit the jump button and boop. It will launch you out. Versus if you have the automatic launch ticked on, it will automatically launch you after a set amount of time once it's orientated itself. And you can dictate how long it waits before it launches you. So this automatic pause duration, what you can do, you can change that to be like 3 seconds if you want. So after you get pulled into the cannon, it orientates itself, waits the predetermined amount of time, and then launches you. So if you want to have it so that way, you know, things line up a certain way, you can do so. You can also reset how long it takes for the cannon to reset after firing. So currently it's going to take 3 seconds. I can set it up so that it takes 10 seconds before resetting itself after launching me. So it launches me, and the cannon isn't going to reset itself until that delay is up, and until then you cannot actually re-enter the cannon. So it's kind of like a it's a cooldown time for the cannon. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of settings for it.
Yeah, I need to let me open this up real quick.
There is obviously also the controlled mode that we need to add in later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you actually possess it and can choose where you want to be shot.
Okay, that needs to be listed higher up. Let's stick this like up here. Reorganize that a little bit. You can change how quickly or how slowly it takes the cannon to orientate itself. So if I drop that down to like 20, you'll be able to see that it will take a much longer time for it to rotate itself to the correct angle.
Ready? Fire!
Like so. Or if you want it really fast, you can put it to like 90. Whatever. I know, orientate itself really quickly.
Yeah.
Like so. And likewise, you can also set the reset rotation speed. So the reset rotation speed is at 90, meaning it'll reset itself faster than it sets itself when you jump into it. So, yeah, there's a lot of like visual customization options with the cannon. We're not quite done with the cannon yet. We, like Reese was saying earlier, we want to set up a manual control mode where you're able to like aim the cannon manually upon jumping into it. But that'll probably be a little while before we add that.
Yeah, that's going to take some time because, well, we have some ideas how to implement it, but we have to go ahead and iterate through that. Plus, there's other bugs we have to fix with the cannon we may want to get to first.
Yep. So the cannons, what's really nice about the cannons is they will automatically orientate themselves based on the location that you want to fire at. So if I move this like over here and I jumped into the cannon will automatically rotate itself to shoot me in that direction. Like so. Another nice thing about the cannon is it does not matter which direction from the cannon you enter. It will always pull you in the same way. That is because the cannons use a spline point that you can see right here. Essentially, anytime you enter this box, the spline point will move to your location, and then you will get pulled along the spline into the cannon. So visually, like mechanically speaking, it doesn't really do anything other than put you in a specific location to be launched from. But it's more so just a visual thing to make it look nicer. So similarly to like Sonic Heroes or Sonic Generations, once you enter the activation radius of the cannon, you get pulled into the cannon. It'd be cool to have a costume animation on when a character is turning into a Wisp power up, like in Sonic Colors. A costume animation?
You think means custom.
Oh, custom. You mean like a little transform animation that Sonic
Yeah.
will play? We want to do some, like, I don't think we'll do an animation, but we will probably play a particle effect.
The reason we don't have the animation thing is to make sure that the flow of it is a bit quicker.
Yeah, that's something we may change later or add an option to allow people to like have a delay like in original games. But for now, we want it to be snappy, at least by default.
A lot of things we heard when people were talking about Wisps is they didn't really like the stop and go kind of gameplay of it. You can't carry your momentum into a Wisp transformation.
Yeah.
So kind of changed it. Like the best example I always keep thinking of is how we did Crimson Eagle. How you can like jump off with momentum and then transform straight into a Crimson Eagle.
Yep.
Yeah, that one's always nice.
It's fun.
So just one last thing, I think. Quickly go over the cannons, and then we'll actually move on to the Wisps, because there is Wisp stuff to talk about. I don't. This is your automatic pause duration, cannon arc. Let's launch power variable. I don't know if we'll end up using it or not. It depends on how we end up going with the how we end up doing the manual firing mode.
The control fire.
Yeah, the controlled fire. So depending on that, that will dictate what this does. If it does anything, we might just end up getting rid of it. I don't know yet. But essentially, this acts as a different feeling and even to an extent different mechanically usable spring. So if you want to be able to control the cannon, or if you want to have to manually fire out of the cannon, they can function differently than springs or dash ramps, to where you have to like time it or aim it properly. But mechanically speaking, under the hood, they function exactly the same as the springs and ramps do.
Yeah, the only hard part was figuring out the animations.
Yep. Which
You have to be procedural.
You had fun with that bit there, didn't you?
Yeah, I helped. And by helped, I mean I wasted an hour of our time.
you helped and wasted an hour of our time only to realize we just had to add a plus 90 to the Y. and then
Yeah.
everything fucking worked just fine.
I said you were having fun with the bit where you added the rings in the sky.
Yeah, I did that. That was fun.
I
I'm
noticed
just
that.
I want to make this visually more appealing, so I threw rings in the sky.
One thing I did notice that if you are like supersonic, it does change your gravity, which eventually we have to address along with the springs.
Mm.
We have to manually change its gravity back to whatever.
Yep. So the cannons are going to be a nice little addition. They're going to be pretty useful little set piece items that people can use if they want. Help kind of break up the monotony of just using springs and dash ramps, you know? Give you an additional option, or dash rings. Just because there is, depending on how you set them up, there is an actual mechanical difference to them. As well as just, like, visually, they're really satisfying. Like, visually speaking, they're satisfying to use.
Especially when you're able to, like, manually control them. That's the, like, unique region in between the dash rings and springs.
Yeah. One thing I could also look into is finding a way to have the camera, kind of like if you were to boost right now or spin dash, you know, if the camera kind of like lags behind you. I may look into adding that to the, just a bit of visual flair by having the camera like kind of have to catch up to you when you use one, if you want.
Yeah, they're like on top of the manual mode that we're going to be adding to the cannons. We're also going to add some camera options to it, so that way if you want to like interrupt the player camera to a specific location or at a specific angle or something to better showcase maybe their launch destination, or allow them to see ahead of them, that way they have to know how to time it, you know, things like that. That's some options we're going to be adding to the cannon as well. Optional, like you don't have to do them, but
something we need to do, which we could do with like the dynamic cameras and get like some sort of daisy chain link system going with them. So when you like, I don't know, like when you step on a spring or something and you go into per se an automated spring sequence, it will like fire and move the camera to one of the dynamic camera locations and then maybe to another one and such, you know, like there's like a daisy chain effect.
Possibly. I mean, we could either do that and or also have a spline camera system attached to it.
Oh no, like we could do both. Like, you know, if you want a spline one to go into a static or a static into a spline, you know, just stuff like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, we could maybe look into a way of making it so that kind of using a linker system. Maybe have the springs just talk to each other so they know that they have to pass out their cameras. That wouldn't be, in theory, that could actually be not too hard.
It would be interesting if, you know, the dynamic camera trigger that we have, we could have like an array of locations for the camera to be at that you could daisy chain together.
Yes,
possibly.
Like and then,
the whole
like they could be included into the object interface, so that way, hitting an object, if the object is paired with like a camera location, upon hitting the object, the camera will interrupt to that location or something, you know.
Yeah, I think the whole the trigger box dynamic camera linker, those like in buttons too, like the whole system of how they work, I feel like we're going to give a look at to make them more, how do I put it, like plug and play. Like you can actually plug them into each other to kind of make small mechanisms like that, make them talk to each other more.
Maybe we'll have to see about it. So what about the fans propellers that lift Sonic or characters into the air? We might do those. I know that's something we're discovering. Or say what?
Yeah, I've got the meshes for them.
Yeah, that's something we were discussing doing, and we'll probably try it at some point.
It's just figuring out how exactly we code it.
Yeah, I have some ideas actually. The hard part would also honestly just be making animations for everyone and adding that.
It would just be like one animation, just to retarget everyone.
I guess that's true.
I'm mostly concerned about the controls, like how the character will actually control and setting up the controls to do that, which we might have to go over the control code anyway once again, because again we're gonna have to clean it up anyway, so we might as well just go over and review it.
Yeah, there's some others. If we ever get the time, I may also want to bring up some underlying issues that I want to get at, kind of like that involves snapping and stuff.
Yeah. So to move on, I know we had mentioned Wisps earlier. So I think the first thing we'll go over real quick. Actually, I'm gonna do this here. That way, hopefully reduces lag. There's been some new particles added to Wisps like Burst, Void, and Frenzy. Burst! Oh, come on. Did Burst break again? I didn't change anything about Burst, though.
That's weird. As long as you hold down the button, it should increase.
What did you do, Emmanuel?
I plugged this in. How is it unplugged again? Oh, because you... No?
I didn't do that.
How did that happen? I plugged that in, and then I saved those changes. Alright, Burst should work now. I don't know why that happened.
Alright guys, redo.
Alright, so the thing about Burst is it's got some new particles going on. These are not final, because obviously they lag the shit out of things.
Sorry.
As you can see, whenever you begin charging up a jump, particles will appear, and then once the jump is fully charged, a little flame ring will emit from you, and then whenever you actually jump, explosions will appear. Like so. These are not finished. One, we're probably going to change some of the functionality of the particles. And two, we got to tone them down a little bit because obviously, as you can see, it kind of lags things out.
Yeah, especially the actual explosion effect. It's definitely not final. We're probably going to look into more Niagara effects we can try to implement. And the idea behind the little sort of fire sphere around you is to showcase like how far the explosion radius will reach. So that's the idea. But also think of it kind of like a test for us experimenting and getting better with particles.
Considering we moved to 4.26, we have to use Niagara now. Because other particle options are not an option.
I mean, Cascade is still there, just get phased out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting phased out. We want to get ahead of the curve.
I can actually go full screen for the others. Burst is the only one I didn't want to go full screen for because it's iffy. Void and Frenzy both have new particles as well. Void! As you can see, there's like a little explosion particle there, as well as a bunch of falling particles.
Explosion particle, didn't you, Manuel?
Well, it's more so that the particles just like the funny thing is going from 4.24 to 4.26 breaks a lot of the Niagara particles. So the first thing I did is I just fixed them so they looked good, and then made them a bit better, and then I started adding things.
Yep. So as you can see, all like the little dust particles for Void. And then Frenzy also has some particles as well. Most of it's also dust particles, but it's kind of smoky.
Yeah. I thought it would be cool for like these dark Wisps. When I say dark, I'm also referring to the OG ones from the original Colors games. I thought it would be cool to add in like some distinguishing features. Like, for instance, if you play the Colors games, you create a shining light when you transform normally and like play animation. And since we haven't implemented that, I thought it would be cool to, at least for the Dark Wisps, distinguish them by having them specifically create like a smoke effect when you transform instead. Just playing around with stuff, but seems to look good so far.
Did you talk about the new materials that we just did the other day?
That's what I was about to talk about next.
Cool.
You have a question? Go ahead. You can just ask it. You don't have to say you have a question.
Yeah, you don't have to raise your hand. Don't worry. Oh, I didn't know about the materials.
Yeah, that's what I did yesterday. So
also,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, since we're talking about particles, I did for the most part, fixed all the Niagara particles. I think there's some I missed out on, but all of them should be now 4.26 compatible. I may have to go back over them again, but they should at least work.
Okay. Also, yeah, I mean, it's still that bug. You can't sidestep to the left twice. Like, you can infinitely sidestep to the right, but you sidestep to the left once, and then you try to get into a dodge instead.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that code again.
So there's something wrong with that. Why do you have to jump to transform into supersonic? There's two reasons. One, kind of just tradition, because other than generations and colors, you kind of always have to jump to transform into supersonic in Sonic games. Two, the other reason is we can try to work around this, obviously, but the other reason is because of physics. It's a lot easier to reset physics and such if you're in midair than if you're on the ground, because the ground snapping code kind of hates it sometimes.
Yeah, there's ways around it, but it's just easier. It fits with tradition. It's just more convenient that way. And most people, like almost every single game, ban or otherwise, does it this way.
Alright, so if you pay attention to Sonic, and if you're watching this, you probably do, you know Sonic Colors Ultimate is coming out, and you also know that the Wisps in Sonic Colors Ultimate have gotten a visual upgrade. So, what I have done, and Reese helped a little bit, and I think Reese is probably going to pick it up and continue it later, because he knows more about material work than I do, is we have reworked some of the Wisp mesh materials. So let's go with Spike first. Spike! As you can see, Spike is got a little bit... Spike resembles how he looks in Sonic Colors Ultimate a little bit more.
He does look better.
It's a bit more shiny, essentially.
Yeah, a little bit more reflective. The textures are a little less... are a little more transparent. You can see the brighter pink on the outside and the darker pink on the inside. Just due to how the Fresnel works, it actually looks really neat. Oh, hey, I got a Sonic stream. Ah, I see. So, some of the Wisps are starting to look a little bit more like their Sonic Colors Ultimate counterpart. So if I swapped over to Hover, you can see Hover looks a little bit more metallic, a little more glossy, as well as how the Fresnel and the undercolors, I kind of just call it, how like the Fresnel lays on top of the undercolor and how different they are. Can you spin dash with the Spike Wisp? Yes, you can. Spike!
Oh yeah.
Why is he flinging poop like a hippo? It's because the particle effect is poopy. That's why, and we need to change it. And that's something Reese was talking about, was setting.
I need to make new. I need to make new rock meshes instead of using those seasonal clip pieces recolored.
Yeah, we also need to. I need to mess around with Niagara to make so the spawn rate can be changed dynamically, so that like the faster you go, the more rock you spit out.
Loco Paconico asks, are you going to add Unleashed stripped animations or just ball? We do have one of the Unleashed animations. We have to rework it slightly. And eventually we will include it as an option. But for now, we're just going to stick with the spin ball from Generations. And once we do add Unleashed, we will make sure to include that as an option to use. But the spin ball is still going to be the default.
Actually, I have a question really quickly about the drift.
What?
Are we going to, since we're messing around with like ball stuff, like the ball actor, are we going to add in like the spin ball for the drift, like in Generations, or keep it with this animation?
Got the spin ball already. Use it for rolling.
Yeah, we could.
I mean, like add the actor.
Yeah, we could do that.
You could literally easily just do like the jump thing, tweak a few things, just tell it to go into roll mode. and then what we could do is just dynamically tilt the ball depending on which way you're drifting.
Does the ball even tilt when drifting? I don't think it currently does, but it's kind of hard to tell given the camera angle. Yeah, it does. It lightly tilts, but due to the camera angle, you can't really tell.
Yeah. So that's one thing we're probably going to update. The drift itself feels fine. I can only think of a few things that mechanically we can change about it.
To go back to the Wisp materials, not all of the Wisps have been updated, obviously because I couldn't get to all of them, and some of them need more like custom work than others. But like, for example, Asteroid does not have a metallic sheen to it like the others do. It's got a little bit more of a roughness feel to it. But its Fresnel is a little, I think it's a little bit stronger than it used to be.
Ivory Lightning you kept a bit metallically, if I remember correctly.
Yep, Ivory Lightning looks a lot more metallic, which I think we're probably going to keep, if I had to guess. We actually have to...
The colors make the core a bit darker.
Yeah. Orange Rocket.
Rocket looks good.
Rocket looks pretty good here.
That's one part I never got to, which is the smoke particles.
Yeah. That's fine.
Wisp transformation animations, when we actually just discussed that a second ago. We probably won't. We'll probably do some small animation, but most of the transformation is actually going to be hidden by particle work, because part of what makes Wisp transformations so slow and clunky is the fact that you have to wait for an animation to play. And even though we're still going to try and do like a quick, real snappy animation, most of the transformation is going to be hidden by particle work. Is what we're
I think the best way around is probably to add in animations that play when you transform out of them, maybe for the actual characters. But
we can do both. I think both in and out are needed because Sonic kind of just blips out of existence.
Yeah.
Who did the voice acting for the Wisp transformation? It was actually Roger Craig Smith. Roger Craig Smith did the Wisp transformation.
But he's the announcer?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I guess I'm not a true Sonic fan.
You don't actually think about it, like, because every time you think about Roger Craig Smith, you think about his Sonic voice, but once you hear his normal voice more and more and more, as well as some of his other work, you actually begin to hear it. You're like, oh yeah, that does sound like Roger.
Who's Roger? Talk about me.
Was it this year? Or was it last year? It was earlier this year when he left, but then
Came
like
back.
A month later was brought back.
Yeah, it was earlier this year.
Yeah, it was, because it was just before the Sonic Central. That was a thing that happened.
Yeah. Did he die? Yes, but I lived.
Yeah. Great Quake also looks very sheeny, metallic-y. Probably darken the inner color, or the core color.
Yeah.
Hopefully needs to be way darker.
Bomb also looks metallic. I could have fixed this, and I just forgot to. So I didn't. Eagle also looks metallic-y at the moment, although that's not going to stay the same. We're going to change
think
that.
Eagle looks okay. I kind of like it, but we're probably going to change it back.
Yeah. I also changed how Drill looks. Drill definitely looks a little bit more metallic-y. You can see the difference between the body color and the Drill color. I want to do more with Drill, to be honest. I don't think it's quite exactly where I want it to be, but it is still pretty good.
Yeah. There's a lot visually that a lot of Wisps can use. I think Drill's one of few Wisps that still mechanically needs a lot, way more tweaking. That and, well, Cube, technically.
And Laser you tweaked as well.
Yep, I also tweaked Cyan Laser. I'm not quite happy with Laser. But it'll suffice for now.
Laser! Also his mesh. It's just his mesh kind of.
Yeah, part of the problem is the fact that his mesh looks poopy. And we're gonna be updating and changing it.
I mean, this is the official model, but if you look at it like from straight on from behind, the top spine is not like center. It's slightly off center.
Yeah.
It bugs me.
I'm glad that they updated the models in Sonic Colors Ultimate, because you can actually see the model in Ultimate, and it looks really good in Ultimate. So I'm really excited to be able to rip that.
That's the thing we're just excited for the most. We get the game and just wait for the rips.
The
Let
very
it
first thing
rip.
we do before we don't even fucking play the game, we just rip the model like right away.
You just hear the duct tape ripping sound for like.
Right.
I think a good idea for the instant changes would be to put in some kind of explosion particle and tiny bit of screen shake. Yeah, we're gonna put in some particle transformation.
Yeah.
It could be like an explosion particle, but we're kind of already going ham on the explosion particle, Emmanuel.
Hey,
So,
hey, watch it.
I mean, look at this. Boy just straight up farts.
The thing I think we could do is have some sort of like that kind of particle there with the boost, but not as big and pronounced. But it also changes color depending on the color of wisp you're gonna transform into.
There's probably gonna be multiple things. Like some of it's gonna be customs for each, wisp, and some is probably gonna be like generic. Like each wisp will probably play a certain particle because you can layer them.
I kind of like the idea of using that boost start like screen ripple effect now, but like not as pronounced.
Yeah, that's what colors actually does. Is like you can whenever you transform into a wisp, there is actually a
Just like a
ripple.
pulse.
Yeah, and also doesn't it like blur the screen too?
It does slightly. I don't know if we will do that though.
Okay.
Are the other characters getting worked on too? We're not really working on characters at the moment. Although with that being said, you did add some
like,
visual work
still...
to Shadow, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Shadow, there he is.
He now
We've
is
got
simply a
Silver.
shadow.
We've got Silver to still work on, so yeah, characters are still being worked on.
Yeah.
Not at the moment.
Shadow now teleports when he quick steps,
Which you
was
could do
that
before,
bad.
but I fixed.
Yeah.
I mean, I broke.
What do you... I was about to say, you fixed? I did this.
yeah, that Reese actually fixed this. Not
Yeah, that's what I meant to
Manuel.
say.
I don't think it's done properly, but it's working. I need to like go over it with you, Emmanuel, really, just to show you how it is.
Yeah, because I can see it, and I remember messing with it to make it work, and also adding that custom one for when you do a homing cancel.
I wanna do the same thing. I wanna make it so Shadow teleports when he homing attacks, but then I opened up the homing attack code, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Oh, actually, that's not too hard.
You say that,
Like,
and that
because
makes me
technically,
worry because whenever you say that, that means it's going to be difficult.
Anytime
technically-
Emmanuel says something, it's going to be the opposite of what he says.
okay, it's gonna be really hard to implement because. You
Oh,
have to
okay, great. Let's
Somehow,
get on with it.
yeah. We'll talk about it later, I guess.
Yeah.
Although, Reese, before then, I would very much like to get the new models in before we do that.
Yes, I know. The Sonic model is like going to be way more of a hassle than any of the new models.
Yeah. Then we have to do the HUD also.
Yes, I've got to do the HUD.
Let's do the models
Many-
first, and then we'll get to the HUD next.
Sure. Ow, the edge.
Plunk.
Oh yeah, there's one thing
with cannons.
there's one thing we did discuss about the cannons I just want to bring up, which is possibly adding in a shockwave that effect that happens when you like hit the ground from a cannon, like it damages enemies around you.
Maybe.
Something to maybe
Only
look
happens
into.
if you're playing as big.
Ho ho! Incoming! Just artillery big.
He just belly flops down. You get to the peak of the arc, and then he just goes into his belly flop form.
As he comes in, he has like reentry, like particle effects around him.
Oh.
Is that a meteor? Oh god!
That's no meteor. That's Big the Cat.
Yeah, I imagine where I'm gonna. Sorry.
I don't think Shadow needs to. Oh,
Oh. Oh.
that was weird. I don't think Shadow needs to disappear when he does a standing, or like a still standing one.
Nah, he's just
Yeah.
flexing.
I could do this all day.
I can do this all day, and then sometimes. Yeah,
Never
this is what I
appears.
mean. Like how I don't think it's fully implemented properly yet.
We gotta look at the
Yeah.
quick stuff code anyway, because there's something wrong with it.
Yeah. The whole dodging system also needs to be looked at.
Yes, it do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, that's all I really did with Shadow was just try and get that teleport effect back in and running, just so then it's back to how it used to be, because that was a thing that's been missing from Shadow since like we started Infinity Plus essentially.
Wait,
Yeah.
Fizz, how did you close all those tabs except for those two? How did you do that?
You
You
right-click on
literally-
the tab and close tabs to the right.
Damn, I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Shadow
That is
dabs with every
exactly-
stride. I did not need to think about shadow dabbing with every stride, although you are correct.
He dabs in Sonic Heroes.
He does.
Shadow dabs in Sonic Heroes, and I'm going to be adding that animation in, and you cannot stop me.
Chaos. Oh, we can.
Whenever you do the trick ring, like the trick dash ring, I'm gonna make it so he dabs.
Are you gonna make that like sound effect when he does it too?
There's a 1 in 100 chance.
Every time he does it, he plays the "I'm the coolest" sound effect.
I'm the coolest.
I'm the coolest. Dabs.
I'm definitely doing that now, and you cannot stop me. One day you're gonna like log back onto the project, and it's just gonna be there, and I'll see how long it takes for you to realize.
It's gonna be like the it's not gonna be like the Sonic. What's it called? Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom. Oh, what, the move that you did?
Yeah, because Fizz already knew about that before he added it into the.
Oh no, like adding a simple animation like that in, I can easily do without anyone noticing.
Checks and change logs all the time when Reese touches
I
projects.
would not have it so obvious. I would like encrypt the name and stuff.
Oh, you mean
You'll
like
have no idea.
you mean like whenever we added Purple Plant?
Yeah, when we added Purple Plant.
Purple Plant's in the project.
Yeah, and Manuel still has no idea what that means.
I forgot about that.
Oh, you
Don't
did
remind me.
really? You really?
Yeah,
forgot
I really did
that
forget.
one?
It turns out I have better things to do than worry about a stupid meme. That's
Because we
right. I called it
added
stupid.
Purple Plant.
So some other things that we've done, or I have done, mostly, because if you look at the changelog, as you can see, look at all these changes that are being pushed by one person.
Uh-huh.
Look, I've been really busy the past few days. All right.
Listen, I have a perfectly good excuse. I was lazy. Anyway.
No,
I didn't want to do it.
I didn't want to do it. That's my excuse.
Some more objects have been cleaned up. As you can see, I have been commenting code and cleaning it up.
He's been getting the Hoover out.
I have. I pulled out the.
Yeah, you are right. Sorry, I was just watching the Colors Ultimate Wisp trailer thing, and yeah, it does do the pulse.
Yeah.
That's cool. We need to add that now.
So chunks of code being commented and stuff. Last time I just did like I think it was like the spike panel, dash ramps, dash rings, dash panel, springs, and I think I also did the spring poles. This time I've done the rings, the 10 rings. I also did the ring splines. The ring splines have been cleaned up.
Oh yeah, the 10 rings have been throwing an error, I realized. I don't know what's causing it, but sometimes they throw an error, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't know what that error is. I've noticed it once. I forgot to.
Oh,
Sorry,
I
continue.
just realized, you know, with Cyan Laser,
What?
I just realized when you're charging, you're in a ball. It's only when you launch off that you turn into the head.
You know, I completely
Yeah.
forgot about that.
You
Yeah,
just
think
add,
about
like
it.
a cyan ball.
Cyan
guess
ball.
so. That
Technically,
wouldn't be
you,
hard to
It's
do.
literally just a jump ball.
yeah, technically you don't even like transform into the Wisp model. You just stay as Sonic until you shoot off. But
Yeah, that's something we can easily change. Just add in a custom jump ball that Cyan spawns, but still, you know,
Yeah,
you're still
also
playing a Cyan.
manual. We should try and double team trying to do the particle effects for Cyan Laser, because once the particle effects are done for Cyan Laser, it's going to look like 100 times better.
Yeah. In general, like, I can catch up on like how particles work, and then we can work on them, because I know you say you want to like spend a lot of time on particles, and we fell off on that.
I've got an idea now on how we could do it, but obviously I'll talk about that after stream.
A couple other things. Obviously, we have the rings spline, 10 rings. We have the enemy spawner that has been cleaned up. I did go ahead and clean up the canon code while I was making it, as you can clearly see. There is also, I know I did the balloons, I want to say. I did the balloons. I didn't ever really discuss that, but I did the balloons with the others. I also did the flamethrowers with the last cleanup pass. A lot of the object codes have been cleaned up. Oh, I also did the rails. The grind rails have been cleaned up.
Ooh.
You know, sorry, it'd be a little bit of a tangent here again, but you know something I just realized with the footage of Colours Ultimate now?
Yes. What is it?
People, I remember, were talking about it, that they found it kind of annoying that the Wisps were still 2D. I've just realized in this newest footage they're actually 3D when they pop out now. They're actually like a model.
Are you talking about like the sprites?
Yeah, like, you know when you pop the capsule and then the Wisp flies towards Sonic?
Oh, you mean those?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, those used to be 2D. They're 3D now. They're actual models.
Honestly, it did not bother me at all. I could have cared less if they were models or sprites.
Didn't with me either.
Like,
I guess they listen to people and are like, let's make them models.
Or, and you know, this is the more likely situation, they were going to do that, and because this game has been in development for like 3 fucking years, all of their footage is from multiple builds throughout the years, and not just one singular current state build that some people can't seem to grasp because that is how game development advertisement works.
Dude, you're pretty livid.
I am.
Jeez.
What about
kind of a
mini
bitch?
particle effects when boosting? Are you talking about like the little flurries? Speaking of which, Emmanuel, the little flurries that play for the mock state,
Yeah.
we need to like tone those down.
Did you like performance or something else?
It's performance.
I figured.
Like, they are just all over the place, and whenever you zoom out, it's fine because they take up so little resolution space, but whenever you zoom in or get close to Sonic, the game just fucking chugs.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into seeing if there's a way to scale, like, figure out how to optimize particles better. 'Cause I know that obviously you can just have less, but I know there's other ways around it too.
Mm-hmm. So something about some of the particles that we use are just inefficient, and it's just like, all right, we gotta get this cleaned up if we want anything to fucking run.
Yeah. Agree it.
So yeah, all of these actors, they've had their stuff cleaned up. I think there's like 1 or 2 other things that are like not objects that I've cleaned up as well. Similarly to all the other things, their variables have been cleaned up on the right, as well as commented. If anything is not specifically apparent by its name, you can see little comment bubbles whenever you hover over it to see what it does. So like, you know, will give energy to player when collected, allows ring to be seen by the light speed dash, will prevent ring from being attracted to electric shield, will prevent ring from being attracted to player while boosting, things like that. Same thing with the, did not need to hit that button, but I'm gonna know that's F. We'll send interface event to triggered actors when waves are empty, the state sent to actors in triggered actors array, as well as the actual array itself. So things in general are starting to look more cleaned up and polished, just for more out-of-the-box use. So if you open up the project and you're like, huh, I wonder what this variable does with this actor, you can just like hover over and it's be like, oh, this is what this variable does. You use it in like this instance, or if there's any detail information you need to know, for example, here, some of this stuff is not used if certain things are not set. So like the, let's see here. The forward power and the up power of these ramps, as you can see in the comment bubble, it says used if pre-calculated is false. That means this is pre-calculated variable. If this is set to true, these variables are not going to be used. So the commented variables kind of help specify those things, so that way you don't waste time trying to figure out like why certain things don't change whenever you set it. So like, oh, this only matters if one thing is set, or this other thing is true or false, you know. What about buttons like pads you trigger? Yep, those are organized as well. The buttons are cleaned up. You can see what it is that they do. Their thing is also list of actors the switch will communicate with. Switch behavior is dictated by this variable, so toggle one-time use timer. Timer used when switch type is set to timer. So if I swap this to timer, you can see that this variable dictates how long it's set, and the state passed into the actor whenever it is hit. So one way active. That's the old barrier type. You can see with the new barrier type, you can see like will block all characters regardless of type if true. Will allow character type variable to pass through if true. Will prevent the same type and variable from passing if false. And the character type the gate will allow or disallow through. So yeah, a lot of that stuff has also been kind of commented. There's still a lot of cleanup stuff we'll have to do with like interface and a few function libraries. I'm not looking forward to doing the home attack function library whatsoever, but we will have to get to it eventually. So a lot of this stuff has just been cleaned up. I think next time what I'm going to focus on, and probably going to take like a whole fucking day to do this, are the item boxes, because the item boxes are not very well commented or clean. And there's also the Wisp capsules. Those need to be commented and cleaned up. Wisp capsules aren't commented, period. So all that stuff's gonna have to be done. I'll probably focus that next time. Oh, also the crates have been done. That's another thing I did, were the psycho objects. You can see that the psycho objects are commented. So the crates, those can be used for psycho objects. These actual silver objects, they have been commented as well as their variables have been commented. The psychopad is commented pretty thoroughly, so you understand what it does. I think I am probably... I believe the psycho stuff is using an interface, but it's not using an interface in the most ideal of ways, I think. Yeah, psycho call. It's using a psycho interface. But a lot of things are named and organized to be like with silver in mind as the convention. Like, oh, this is to be used by silver. Oh, this is silver's object, or things like that. Even though in reality, it should just be anything that uses the psychocall interface and has the psychocall interface code set up. So we should probably alter a lot of those naming conventions and stuff. And I might also even update and alter the psycho code slightly to reflect that. Although, if you do want a character to have psychic abilities akin to what Silver has, you could always just create a child of Silver's blueprint anyway. Like, it would not be super difficult. And one last thing related to Silver. Obviously, we're going to be continuously working on him still because he's nowhere near done. But I did... Why did that not change? Some of my changes did not actually save, and I don't know why. The boost efficiency was supposed to say psycho efficiency. But as you can see, the energy bar actually changes whenever you pick up objects. It was not doing that before. As you can clearly tell, because it was tracking the wrong thing as part of the problem. The boost efficiency there is actually supposed to say psycho efficiency, and one idea I mentioned it in the whiteboard channel. I don't know if you read it, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had considered the idea of, because Silver doesn't use the scrap system that the flight parent uses.
Yeah, no, he's too cool for that.
So I was thinking, like, to build on the scrap system for Silver, maybe as Silver's scrap level goes up, maybe his efficiency increases as well. So like maybe he uses less psychic energy whenever he grabs items, or things like, you know, just so that Silver actually has some form of connection to the flight parent.
Yeah, that's something we could. I didn't really know what to think about at the time. It's something we could think about later if we flesh out his kit, though.
You could also like even increase the efficiency of his flight so that way he could fly longer or something. T-poses. Did Silver T-pose at any point in time, or is he just...
He's always T-posing. Yeah, look at that good old
he used to play
September 2020 code.
It still works relatively well.
Yeah, no, I'm saying fun of it because like I just don't remember how it works anymore. Well, I vaguely do, but we haven't touched it in a long time. Shing.
So yep. Silver will be something we work on here soon. I think once I get things cleaned up a little bit more, clean up some more actors, comment more code and stuff, Silver will probably be pretty close to being on the docket of things to work on, because I can't work on another character until we get the model in.
Yeah. Alright, that's it. Go home.
Certain other specific character whose name rhymes with Lister.
Pacific. Is he from Pacific Islands or something?
I said specific.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that, Chief. It'd be cool if into a more fucked up future. It'd be cool if a character could build momentum when going down a ramp or hill. You mean like how they already do?
I mean, yeah, they do. Especially if you're rolling. If you it's hard to explain, but it's like there are like slope physics when you go up and down hills when you're running and walking normally, but like obviously compared to the classic games, they're not as noticeable in many regards. Especially if you're running a full tilt, the hill's not going to stop you.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in terms of speeding up, you don't speed up that much from going downhill, but it will definitely slow you down. I think. I don't know. It's unreal physics, I swear.
Yeah, like you can definitely tell by the speed that you hit whenever you run up and downhill. Like whenever you run up the hill, assuming you are starting at like, you know, the foot of the hill and you run up, Sonic like barely breaks into 2000. But whenever Sonic runs down the hill, he basically hits 4000. So there are actual slope physics.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, also if you're boosting, the slope physics are specifically either turned off or toned down significantly.
And you can even see that his acceleration is actually increased well in a rolling state. So if I run down this hill from the top of it, I reach roughly like 4100 as my top speed roughly. But whenever I roll down the hill, I reach up into 5000. So the acceleration is increased while rolling, and if you roll from a standstill on a hill, you will actually fall down it. Math.
My eyes!
My eyes!
Yes, we do have the physics.
So I think the only main thing is, like, especially when rolling, you could probably lose speed a little bit faster when rolling uphill than you do. Like, just slightly, not by a whole lot.
Yeah, that whole thing. Rolling is funny. We've always talked about how rolling needs updates, and then we kind of just forgot about it.
There's so many other things to work on.
Yeah, that's always the thing with this project. There's so many Sonic-related things to work on, so it's like, we're not going to get to everything.
Yeah. But the rolling is something rolling is probably something we'll do near the end. Or not near the end, but like later on.
Yeah.
What about having a trail while rolling? We actually used to. We were playing
Did we?
around. Yeah, remember?
Are you okay?
I just needed to move it, and it didn't like the fact that it was being moved.
Okay.
It was the same. Wasn't it the same trail that you used for the Wisps? For like Cyan Laser and like Drill and Spike? Didn't you? Like,
I don't remember this at all, honestly. I may have done it and I just completely forgot for some reason. Like,
I think what it was is you started on it with the rolling, but it didn't look great and it was kind of janky, so we kind of just held off on the idea, and then whenever you returned the idea, instead of returning to it with Sonic, you returned to it with the Wisps, is what I think happened.
possibly. It depends on, like, when. I know that the trail is actually something that I started making after the homing attack, specifically, because I reworked the homing attack trail. And when I figured out how that worked, I started applying it to, say, like, the Wisp, like that one.
I do like this trail.
Yeah. It's like essentially like the default Unreal trail, but it looks nice. Although, eventually I do want to change it so it works in Niagara instead, so I know that will be a thing. One thing we could maybe look into later is, like, if Niagara allows, we could look into making so those particles just don't disappear as soon as you detransform. Although what may have to happen is that you may have to spawn the particles, like, outside of the Wisp.
Yeah, rather than spawning an attached particle, we would just spawn a particle with a set lifespan.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because if you attach the particle to the actor, it'll get deleted with the actor.
Yeah, actually, that makes sense. I don't know why I just never thought of it that way. That does make sense.
So yeah, that's most of everything we have to talk about, really. I think we've been going for, what, an hour and 6 minutes? Like, as per usual, we went over everything in about an hour.
Yeah, things are still ramping up.
Yeah. I have done a fuck ton of code cleaning. I know, like, I only showed off about 6 or 7 different objects that I have cleaned, but cleaning up code can take a minute. Like, it's not super easy, especially if in the process of doing it, you are cleaning out old stuff that aren't being used. You have to cross-reference the code. You have to make sure it's not being used anywhere, to make sure it's not being referenced in other actors. You have to make sure we're actually not using it, or if it, not being called somewhere inside of it. Then you have to, like, remove it. And then there's also the code that we are using. We have to reread it, proofread it, make sure there's nothing super inefficient about it. See if there's anything about it we can improve on. Things of the such. Like, it's not... Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not super difficult, it's just time consuming. Is the thing about cleaning code. Which is... So, like, I think the amount of actors that I have cleaned over the week, over the span of these 2 weeks, is pretty good. Why is Unreal Engine 4 so ugly? I like its UI and its aesthetic.
Oh yeah, you didn't update it. That's why, or
yeah.
Not update, but modify it.
I didn't modify it because I didn't know if those modifications would work for 4.26. Like, I didn't know if that theme modification would work for 4.26.
He's back to the default.
Yeah, the default look. I don't care too much for the default look, especially when it comes to, like, the nodes and stuff like that. I think I prefer the other stuff. Is there a night version of the stage you're on?
No.
No, we don't do, like, day and night versions of stages.
Yeah, we did have a weather system, like, before the Christmas update, but
yeah.
that kind of broke in half.
Oh yeah, because
I turned the rain on the other day and it worked.
Oh.
Let's see. Sunny.
Yeah.
Through the rain.
Yeah.
I don't see any rain.
I don't see any rain.
No, it's not done like that.
What do you mean it's not done like that?
Yeah, I know. It's not done with that at the moment, I think. It has to be the the game instance. The menu.
Oh, try that, I guess. Okay.
So
I guess in the future we could look into having that also affect the good sky setting, so you can make it darker. But I don't know.
Where was it saved again? Options. Wait, no. Click on the options.
God broke the weather, pretty much.
Click that. Is camera rotation. What I did was I just went to like the main menu and did it, but it works. I know it works from there at least.
Mm. Oh well.
Yes.
No rain for us.
Well,
Oh well. I'll just make more anyway.
we'll cry about it later anyway.
Depresso Eggman.
For some reason, a couple of the changes I made didn't get pushed. I don't know why. I don't know if that was Unreal. I don't know if it was...
It was me. I did it.
It was me. Dirtbag man. I was considering working on Eggy Boy here for like a split second. I'm like, oh wait, no, there's other things we have to do.
Yeah. He can wait, as always.
One thing about Eggman I don't hardly ever think about is how pink his nose is.
Oh yeah.
Like, his nose is pink. I don't really ever think about it. It's just kind of so.
That is explicitly
He's got
modern.
a tanned nose.
That's sunburned. That's not tan.
Also, it's not exclusively a modern thing. Classic Eggman has even more of a pink nose. Like, his nose is just straight up pink.
What? Hold on a second.
I know it because that's something they exaggerated in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Like his big honking pink nose.
Oh yeah, I don't know why. I always forget he has this. I don't know why. I just don't see the nose normally in like the classic version. I also just remember teeth, mustache,
teeth and mustache. That's
mustache and leg glasses.
Mick
The guy was grooving back then.
Reuben.
Give Eggman nose physics.
Yes.
I mean,
No.
if you asked for it, don't say we didn't warn you.
Can you jump on rails while on rails? Yes. Although that's actually a rail specific thing. Like you can actually turn that off.
For specific rails.
Yeah. I think these rails are just barely too far apart to really jump between them. Like I have
one thing I was we could talk about this later, but one thing I was thinking about for the rails is maybe possibly adding in like a universal crouch mechanic so that like every character can crouch and like build up speed faster when going down and up and stuff like that.
Let me move these rails a little bit closer, see if the rail switching actually works, because I've never really actually.
I think the rails. I think that will fix it because it has to be within a distance.
And they have to be within a certain distance of each other.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep, the rail switching works.
Yeah. You have to give it credit for a dynamic rail switching system. It's not that bad. Like you don't have to pair them to each other and code it. It's just place them close together. It works most of the time.
As long as they're within a real like close proximity to each other.
Yeah, maybe we can in the future add in a button you can press that draws a debug like square or something that shows you okay you have to be this close to them because there's no way you can tell otherwise.
If you don't want the players to be able to jump off the rail, all you got to do is hit this can rail jump button, and it prevents the player from jumping off of it. They can still rail switch, they just cannot manually jump off the rail.
Yeah.
See, like I can rail switch off that rail, but I cannot jump off of it. So you can prevent players from jumping off the rail if you want an automated rail and you don't want the player to accidentally kill themselves. You can do that because it doesn't prevent the rail switching.
Yeah, and eventually we talked about this a long time ago. Eventually, we are looking into adding a spline camera or an optional spline camera for the rail, so you can have dynamic cameras.
Yeah, that's something I think we need to add with the other splines as well.
Yeah.
Why can't rails be twisted again? It's a mixed problem between how spline points rotate correlative to each other, as well as how the meshes you assign the spline react to that. Like, it's two problems in one. It's like how the spline points react to being rotated relative to each other versus... It's like you can rotate these, but for some reason the mesh doesn't always want to rotate with them.
Yeah. Something to do with that. That's something we could look into addressing, because we know that, being able to rotate a spline, especially when you want to do like loop-to-loops, is important for those cases.
Mm. You get shit like
and
this. It's just due to how the mesh is related to it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a way we could look into it so it's a bit more clean.
Mm-hmm. But like every time we've tried messing with it, like it either works in some instances and doesn't work others, or it like vice versa.
Never works.
Or just doesn't work, period. It's very tricky and annoying.
Yeah, it's not a big priority because the only change it will make is mostly visual, because it doesn't actually change, like, you can still make the direction you want to go. The only change it does when you rotate the actual rail itself is just the direction the character is, which, isn't actually that important mechanically.
Yeah, if you have, as long as the mesh's collision is turned off, like the collision doesn't actually do anything, the physical mesh doesn't do anything. It's actually this capsule here that moves the character along the spline. So even if the mesh is like, disjointed, the character won't change anything with the character, because the character, as long as the character isn't colliding with the mesh, assuming you turn the mesh collision off, having the mesh disjointed like that shouldn't change anything about how the spline actually functions. It'll just look gross visually. So we can spend time, like, obviously all we've done in the past couple minutes is answer questions, but we can just, continue doing that, because we don't have anything to add unless you guys do. I don't have anything to add. I've talked about everything I need to.
Nope.
I think Reese is dead.
Reese is dead. Not.
Oh, no, I'm good.
One thing that has changed, I guess this is less about the actual project. 'Cause it does affect the project, but it's not about the project. It's more about my, he died from overwork. I've been promoted at work, so I'm no longer floor staff. I'm now team lead, which is part of the management.
You're now the manager of Krusty Krab 2.
Yeah, I'm a manager of the Krusty Krab 2. I've been promoted to a position in management at work, so even though technically I'm still part-time, I'm going to see if I end up being moved to a full-time position or not, so my hours aren't really changing. It's more so how many hours in a single day I have available to work on stuff, because I'm pretty sure the amount of days off I have in the week are still going to be about the same. I'm going to have about 2 to 3, maybe an additional day off on occasion. So the amount of days I have off won't change, but the amount of hours I have in a single day will, because almost regardless of the fact that I'm part-time or not, I'm probably going to be going into work for about 8 to 9 hours or so. So my ability to work on the project will change slightly, but I'm still going to try and get as much done as I can in the time that I do have. Does that mean free popcorn soda? I already actually had that. Like, that's actually...
You always get that.
Yeah, that's just a normal perk of being floor staff. You get, as long as you bring your own containers, like your own cup or your own bowl, you can get free popcorn and free soda. And an additional perk is we get like 2 free movie tickets a week. It used to be like a free movie ticket a day, but we were like bleeding money with that. So they changed it to like 2 free movie tickets a week. So you can either use 2 of them for yourself, or you can use one and you get a free plus one.
Yeah, the theater I worked at had a similar system for both of those things.
Yeah. Was it a Regal movie theater?
Oh no, I worked at NCG.
Oh.
Wait, you're at AMC? Oh, I hate you now.
I don't work at
was
AMC.
in
I just
Maryland.
said Regal.
Regal, yeah, that's even worse
Regal's better.
than NCG. Yeah, yeah, sure, whatever, man.
I don't know about NCG. I don't know what that is. I've never really heard of that.
It's better. That's
I've
being
heard
a douche.
from like I've never really worked for AMC, and I don't really know anybody that has worked for AMC. But a lot of my coworkers do know people who work for AMC, and they say that Regal is definitely the better of the 2 companies to work for. What about specific melee attacks for a character? Power characters have melee attacks attached to them. The flight characters do have a melee attack system. It's very basic, much more basic than the power parent. So if you want to create children of the power or flight parent, you can expand upon those abilities yourself using the default system that's in place.
What about a customized? If that's the case, then we have a whole discussion about how we're gonna go into more depth about a number of things. But you can either add in animations with hitboxes, which we could show off, or you can just add in add in blueprints via add in hitboxes via the blueprints, because I think Fizz can show it off by going in game and pressing the C button to show the hitboxes, but you can create hitboxes which will knock around enemies. That's how you deal damage in this game now, for the most part.
So really, let me open up Knuckles here. What you can see with Knuckles is whenever I do an attack, like Emmanuel said, you can see the hitbox. And that's not created in the code. Like the act of punching an enemy, or like the act of creating the hitbox that hits the enemy, that's not being done in the code, that's being done in the animation. So like those hitboxes that appear, that's all being done in the animation. The act of pushing Knuckles around, so whenever Knuckles lunges forward, or whenever he lunges upward, or if he changes attacks in a sequence, that's being done in the code. So if you want to change that, you would have to change that in the actual individual children. But if, for example, you wanted to create Omega as a character, you would like create a child of the power parent for Omega, and let's say you wanted to have him have the same similar
3-piece combo,
like 3-part combo. Maybe how he gets launched is different than Knuckles, like maybe he gets launched further than Knuckles does and is slightly more out of control. Those can be changed in the individual children. But if you want to change the actual animations, that's fine, because the code that plays whenever you attack, it doesn't care what animation is being played. It's just saying, hey, play this animation. And all you got to do is set what that animation is in the child, and it'll be like, oh, play your 1-punch combo, or play your 2-punch combo, play your 3-punch combo, and it will just tell them to do that. And then from there, if you set up and create your own animations and then create the hitboxes inside of those animations, all that will just be done in the individual children.
Yeah. Do you think really quickly we could show like the animation just to show like how you create the hitboxes, or would that take too much time?
We can show the hitboxes themselves. I don't know if I want to show how to create the hitboxes, but
Well, yeah, not how to create, but just show like how they look when you're actually like making them.
is it quick? Is it punch 1 quick?
Yeah, quick. Yeah.
So as you can see, we got the stuff here. Dang, they really did change a lot of this shit.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I'll have to get used to it. But if you click on that purple track at the bottom, the Knuckles Punch 1, that is a custom
Hit collision.
Yeah, that's a custom hit collision. What that does is it just creates sort of like a hitbox. As you could change a lot of parameters we'll get into, like the size, the direct, what bones is attached to, how much damage it does. All that stuff is done in this little structure to the right. You can see.
Yeah. If I click off,
And
it
then-
disappears. So it's this thing specifically. You can see like the name of the attack or the name of the hitbox, how much damage it does, what bonus attached to, the size of it, the offset, rotation, scale, the knockback strength, which is obviously what tell like how powerful the knockback to the enemy, the knockback direction, if you want to specify a direction that the enemy gets knocked back from. Any upward override, like you can get knocked backwards, but you could also get knocked upwards and backwards. So the upward override is the verticality of that horizontal launch. The hit type, which we got to rework this, so don't worry about that. The knockback type, I'm not.
No, don't worry about it. It just specifies like, okay, like which direction is the direction coming from? Like, is it going to be knockback depending on where a guy attacking is looking or where the guy who's being attacked is looking?
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
So, like, for example, if you punch someone and they get knocked backwards, if this is set to attacker, that means they'll always get knocked backwards relative to where the direction you're punching. Versus if it's set to receiver, it'll be knocked backwards relative to the direction that they're facing. So, for example, if you hit an enemy from behind, like if you're standing behind an enemy and they're facing away from you and you punch them, but this is set to receiver, they will fly into your face because they're set to be knocked back relative to their forward vector, not yours. Which is kind of strange, but if you wanted to set it up like that, you could. I don't know why you would, but you know. You can also set up the shape, the hit stun, destroy delay, how long it takes for them to be destroyed if they are to be destroyed, or how long it takes them to be hit stunned, the iframes, which is how long it takes for them to be able to receive damage again. There is a difference between hit stun and iframe. The iframe essentially just says, hey, I cannot take damage during these iframes, versus a hit stun is, hey, I can't do anything while I'm in hit stun.
Yeah.
There is the knockback strength type, which I don't remember specifically what all that does. It's like
I'll explain that more
world
later.
Velocity, pure velocity, world velocity, shit like that.
Yeah.
Knockback gravity, the gravity given to the actor that gets hit. If any shield interactions, if it ignores shields, if it prioritizes shields taking damage first. I don't know what AP does.
Yeah, that's how we rework. You can ignore it.
Shield breaker, meaning, does shield breaker do double damage to shields, or does it automatically break the shield?
I think it was more. I think it's more so. I was going to have a system where like shields can take different amounts of damage, and some attacks will do more shield damage or something. Like I said, that still has to be heavily worked around or changed to be just better.
Mm-hmm. There's a power attack. I'm not sure what specifies a power attack.
Yeah, that's going to be changed too. That was just because at the time we needed something for that.
The freeze timer dictates how long the enemy will be frozen in place before being launched after being hit. And then the element type of the thing, which doesn't do anything at the moment, but it will eventually. Display collision. Whenever I hit C and you can see all the collision, I think that's what this does. Is like debug collision.
Yeah.
It displays it.
Well, this just changes it inside the editor so that like you can, so it doesn't get cluttered.
So yeah, all that stuff, all the hitbox animation stuff is being set up inside the actual animation.
Yeah, and FYI, you can also do this inside a blueprint. Technically, you can call a function that creates like a freestanding hitbox, sort of.
Yeah, which is what the Wisps
dynamically.
use, actually. Like, all of the Wisp hitboxes are actually created in Blueprint.
Yeah.
To answer your other question about the skydive animations, they're all fixed for all the characters. I don't think Tails has a quick fall animation, though. Like, if I swap to Tails, I don't think he'll do a quick fall animation.
There he is.
Like, he'll do a regular skydive, yeah. Even though I can quick fall, he doesn't actually have a quick fall animation.
Yeah,
So-
they're usually fixed. Eventually.
So if I open up, let's open up, let's do Great Quake. Because Great
That's a
Quake
good
has one. You can see Great Quake, I'm supposed to do it on startup. Where is it?
If you can't find it, you could try Purple Frenzy also. It has one.
Frenzy has one, so does Spike. Spike has one as well. Which, by the way, I needed to talk to you about Spike. but we can do that later. I don't know where the hell that's at for Quake. Let's just look up Spike instead. Pink Spike. Here we go.
Yeah.
It might have been on the event child energy is what it probably was. Spawn hit sphere. You can see this collapsed structure right here. Whenever I open it up, it has all of the exact same information that the animation one does. Like whenever you looked over, saw earlier with Knuckles, all the stuff like damage, bone, size, offset, rotation, scale, knockback, strength, direction, override, hit type, all that stuff. All that is still here. It's all exactly the same. It's just rather than being created in animation, it's being created in code.
Yeah, this also means that if you create it in Blueprint, you also have to destroy it via the Blueprint also. It doesn't just like have a timer automatically. That's something we could look into. Maybe, probably not. But like hitboxes you created in a Blueprint have to also be destroyed in the Blueprint. But you have to do that by referencing their name specifically and say, hey, get rid of this one.
Now, let's go with Black Bomb. Because Black Bomb, what you can do with Black Bomb is, or what we do with Black Bomb is it actually gets updated. Because you can update hitboxes. You don't have to like destroy and recreate them. You can update them, can't you?
Yeah, you can update them too. I'm just meaning like when you eventually get rid of it.
Yeah. So here there's like change collision, size and change, damage, stuff like that. You can update them rather than just destroy them and recreate them.
And you see specifically there's a pink key, string key. You have to enter in, because of how it works, you have to enter in the name of the hitbox you want to change, which means that all of your hitboxes have to have different names. That is one limitation, which isn't that big of a limitation, but it's something you have to do.
So like name Black Bomb _ touch, which is touch damage, meaning if you touch an enemy. That's what we named it for, because like it's a hitbox meant to be used for touch damage. That's what we named it whenever we created it, and this here is, we just simply copied and pasted into here, like, oh, this is the hitbox we want to change. This is the key to that hitbox that we're wanting to change. So we just simply say what it is we want to change about. We want to change its size, and we want to change its damage.
Yeah, this was like the reason they're keyed is just it's for record keeping, so you can keep track of them, get rid of them as you need, stuff like that. Because without the key, there'll be no way to check up on them at all.
Yeah. So yeah, all the hitboxes and stuff, if you want to change stuff like that, the only thing that you will actually have to change if you want to change, and I mentioned this earlier about the actual combat, is like, you know, the whole lunging forward stuff. A lot of that is that in Knuckles' blueprint, or did you move it here?
No, it should be in here.
Okay, so punch, oh, that's power glide. Where's the actual punch code?
No, you were there, like, because when you punch, it does some to the bottom right, the purple thing to the right, that.
Basic ground attacks. Okay, so there's like power start, velocity lock on, stuff like that. A lot of this stuff is what will need to be changed, which I think
the variables can be changed, which is good enough.
Yeah,
because it calls a function which will try to snap whatever character you are to the character you're looking at, which is supposed to be handled automatically for the most part. But you can change the variables around, so you can change how fast you can lunge forward. Like, you can make it so that, for instance, if there is a character in front of you, it will lunge you all the way to that character. But if there isn't an enemy in front of you at all, you get like pushed forward a certain distance regardless.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it isn't like this because technically this array element is no longer actually the old enemies, it's the new enemies. It's like,
well, actually it's doing that because it's like, the reason it makes it no is because it's saying you don't have to. It's saying that you already have a reference to it. That's technically the reason why.
So yeah, if you want the whole launching situation and stuff like that, we'll probably have to promote these to variables, is what it is, to make it easier to be changed in individual children.
Oh, well, they're attack dependent. The specific, that's the problem. Like, each attack has different variables.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is like, it's a very basic but expandable system, because you simply just call this one function and you pass variables through it, do you not?
Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. I got you.
Because, like, if, for example, someone wants a 5-punch combo rather than a 3-punch combo, they'll have to add to this anyway. So, you know, it's just how it's gonna have to be.
Yeah, I'll probably look into making it expandable, so that you can add in. Well, it depends on how easy that is, because in theory, you can just override that and just add in a new sequence that is just larger.
Mm-hmm. There's Supersonic and Hypersonic. Why not Dark Sonic? Because Dark Sonic isn't canon, and we're not interested in adding like a fuck ton of transformations. The
Honestly,
Supersonic,
I haven't even thought about it.
the Supersonic and Hypersonic thing, those are literally just the exact same thing. It's just some minor parameters change, and there's one additional array you have to check in place of it. So it's literally the same thing. That and like the whole how you would differentiate between Supersonic and Dark Sonic would change depending from person to person. Personally, I would never have a Dark Sonic transformation in a fan game I would ever make, and honestly, I don't know of anybody that would. Like that's a very specific thing to want to include in your fan game, so I don't think it's a big enough need to warrant everyone, or like to warrant having an out of the box Dark Sonic thing.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
like I've seen maybe people add it as skins, but like since it's the actual mechanic that we have, the most we could ever do if we were to do it in theory is to just add in like new particles and a new material just for Dark Sonic, but mechanically it's just literally the same as Supersonic. But that would be it if we were ever to add it.
Yeah, and at
And
that
we
point in
probably
time, it's literally just Supersonic.
Yeah, that's something someone else could do, to be honest.
So, that, and I'm not interested in adding a whole bunch of, you know, non-canon shit into it.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason, like, I want to mainly stick to the game canon, is the thing. If people want to do their own shit, they can. The exception being Whisper, obviously.
Yeah, Whisper isn't canon, but and Mighty to an extent.
Yeah, Mighty's canon.
Mighty's in
Well,
Mania.
Well, I mean, like the version of Mighty we're adding, like the model and stuff, you know.
A modernized version of Mighty.
Yeah. So semi-canon.
I mean,
Mostly canon.
our version of Mighty won't be the Archie version. Like, we're not going to be including the Archie version of Mighty.
I mean, like its model is what I'm saying specifically.
Oh well.
We're already including Mighty. What else do you want?
He needs the boots.
The boots.
Anyway, yeah, that's the primary reason. Is this just, it wouldn't really be worth the work. There isn't enough different, and it's more of a very, it's a very like subjective way on how you would want to include this, like Dark Sonic. So I'm just like, all right, whatever. You can just include that on your own if you want. I'm not too interested in doing that if hardly anyone's going to use it.
Yeah, we have enough particles and material work to do as is.
What about Ray? We considered adding Ray, but I think we were just like, we're doing Mighty and we're doing Honey. So I think and
they're way down the line.
Yeah, they're way down the line. That's after we actually finish 1.0. So if a lot of people want to vote on Ray, they can. Ray will be on the list of characters that they can vote for. Because after we finish 1.0, we'll begin working on Honey and Mighty, but at that point in time, we will open up the poll for a plus pack character. And if people want to vote for Ray, they can, because Ray will be on that list. All the characters that'll be on the list will be video game characters.
Yeah.
So
Did
not
I just hear Ray?
Yeah, we were literally just discussing Ray.
Look, I had to go away there for a minute to talk to someone.
Oh, someone was asking if we're gonna add Ray. We just mentioned the plus pack stuff and how we're
we're
gonna
totally
vote.
adding Ray.
Even Sticks. Yeah, I guess we could include Sticks, I suppose. Because technically she is a video game character because of Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric, and
Fire and Ice
and all that stuff. Shattered Crystal. Technically, we could include Sticks.
What about Professor Gerald?
technically, shut up.
The only villain characters we would be including in the plus pack would be the Babylon. Well, Babylon rogues aren't really villains, but you know they're kind of
the antagonists.
Yeah, they're antagonists, not really villains. They're antagonists. What are they called? The hooligans. We would be including the hooligans in the list because they are video game characters. Cool. And ironically, I am legitimately considering adding Eggman to the list. So if people really wanted to play as Eggman, we could include Eggman.
Sonic Adventure 2 Eggman, where he doesn't have the mech, so when he's like running,
Yosh. All he does is run around. Yosh.
Wait a minute. If we add in Eggman mech, maybe I can add a Tails mech.
We're not adding Eggman mech. If we add Eggman, it will not be a mech.
The mech.
Dang it.
And he'll be a power type, so whenever you attack, he just kicks. He just does that kick that he's got.
Yup.
He just goes,
he does the can.
If I had to create Eggman as a character, I would probably make him a flight character. That's probably what I would do.
Giving them the thrusters from like Sonic Road Blast 2.
Yeah.
Give him the jetpack from Sonic Lost World where he dies.
Yeah, he just falls over and dies.
Instantly.
So we probably would include Eggman as a character. I am like legitimately considering it, just because I don't think anyone else really does that. Sonic Road Blast 2 is the only game where I know where people have actually modded Eggman in as a playable character. But like, I can't think of really other fan game where Eggman is an actual option by default.
Sonic World.
Really?
I think he's in there.
I don't think so.
No, wait, no. Eggman Nega is. Eggman Nega is, I know. I don't know about actual Eggman, though.
If anything, there is a mod, because I know Mr. President and the Gun Commander.
Yeah.
Mr. President, get down!
And when they do the spinball jumps, it's the most cursed thing ever.
Okay, you had to send a video. I need to see that after the stream.
It's cursed. It's very cursed.
It is.
So Ray could be a character. Styx could technically be a character. We could actually include Styx into that list.
Don't ask for Boom Knuckles. Don't.
We're not going to add the Boom versions of any characters. So no Boom, Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, or Amy. No Boom.
I think Werehog is also out too, because technically Sonic also.
Yeah, Werehog is more so a transformation than an actual separate character. Although Sega teams are like act as if he is his own separate character. Which
he essentially is. He's technically the same character, but
it's another transformation when you think about it.
Yeah.
Which quite often they often treat transformations as their own thing. Like they refer to Super Sonic as Super Sonic. They don't refer to him as Sonic in a super form.
Yeah. The closest I could think of where they did that is like Fleetway Sonic, where he's literally a different person.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, it's kind of just a cool own thing. But no Werehog. We could show you how, though.
I am excited to get these models in, though.
Just keep over-egging the pudding with Reese. Just keep buttering him up. Just keep reminding him.
Look at all these models that could be, updated and fixed.
Some of them are the,
Reese, where is the butts? Where's the cleavage?
It's the cleavage.
You know exactly which character you need to look at for that.
Yeah, I know.
Vector.
It's big.
Exactly.
No, Vector.
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 Of course, like Charmy, Vector, SBO, they'll be on the list also. Cream.
Characters bound to the wall.
Omega.
Do you want to see what happens whenever you fucking Whisper the Wolf in the I+ server? This is what happens. You get mounted to the wall. You do not Whisper the Wolf in the I+ server. This is what happens.
But the president.
President.
What?
Look at this video we sent. Just ignore
it. Of the president in Sonic World.
The president in Sonic World.
Honestly, the rolling ball doesn't look that bad.
It's cursed. It's still cursed.
It's cursed. It's still really cursed.
Are you torturing them? We are. All these characters are being tortured right now.
Dude, think about it. The way that he's curling up, his head is in a very specific place.
Okay, new update. We're adding in Sonic World DX to the game.
Just Sonic World
To the engine.
DX.
Just an entire project. They're all here. They're not going to stop us.
We had
For real though,
every
for a
Sonic
second, when you think about it, you could technically just add another engine to your engine. Like legally they can't stop you.
I
Legally,
heard
we
you
cannot
like
stop it.
engines, so put an engine in your engine so you can
Yeah.
engine while you engine.
Yeah, it would be a super scummy thing to do. Not to mention like almost impossible to do, but you could do it.
You could technically do it if you had the mental fortitude to do so. You could.
And you were either you brokered a deal or you're a scumbag. You could do it.
Or just an asshole.
Yeah. Hey, no cursing.
Ah, shit, you're right. Fuck. Damn it. No,
You know,
wait.
what's funny? It's like you actually did tell me at the beginning, so he's like, "Hey, no cursing." I actually thought you meant it
No.
for a second.
Of course we didn't mean it. We're joking. This is what happens when you spend like too much time away from us. You start losing your edge.
Oh, ow! He's super
Ow, the
pressed.
edge.
Yeah, lose the edge. He's lost it.
I've lost the edge.
All right.
He's now
Crawling in my crawl.
Were there any other questions? God damn it. Anytime I start a sentence with the words any other, or like are there any other, or is there any other, I have it ingrained in my head thanks to work to ask like any other ice cream candies or popcorn.
I'll like
have
some.
ice cream. I'll have
Can
some
I get some Reese's Pieces?
I'll have
We
some
don't have Reese's
pistachio.
Pieces.
How
I'll
do
have
you? Oh my god!
We used
What
to.
about pistachio?
We do not have pistachio, Reese.
I
Who
want
the hell has
pistachio.
pistachio?
We
I want
used
pistachio.
we used to have Reese's Pieces, and whenever we got rid of them, which by the way, we don't have the ability to choose what we do and don't get rid of. Like we can
I figured.
request to get rid of something, but like our district manager can be like,
Corporate.
no,
Yeah.
like you need to keep this. Like for example, Cheeto popcorn. We desperately wanted to get rid of Cheeto popcorn for the longest time because not
Oh.
enough people were buying it.
That sounds like a pain to clean up too.
It is. It's a bitch to clean up. The thing is we always had to like clean it up at the end of the night and get rid of all the stuff, and it added like an extra
There you go, Emmanuel.
30 minutes to work.
Oh yeah, one more thing.
One last thing. What is the one last thing?
The one last thing is that Emmanuel has an announcement.
The Eggman underwear mod is in the works.
Yeah.
I like how Emmanuel's like yes, and Reese is like, wait, what?
It is inbound.
There's two reactions.
Reese is like, what?
There's two people. in
Make
this
the
world.
water look more watery. No, you know what? Just
It
because you
won't.
asked, make it look less watery.
Let's make it look more like Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Actually, if you go into water, for some reason the lighting bugs out and becomes super like.
No, I know what that is.
White.
I know exactly what that is. It's when I've been working with lighting. It's the exponential height fog.
Why are the
Yeah, we'll get
bounces
to that before.
separate? Why are the bounces stomps separate, not together? What do you mean by that? Because technically, like they are separate, but I'm also like, how would you make them together?
Are you asking why they aren't the same move, or why the characters don't have access to both moves at the same time?
They technically can. They can have access to both moves at the same time. We just have it set it up so they don't. You would
Yeah,
have
well-
to make some minor changes, but it is possible to have them both set up at the same time.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. Like the engine doesn't natively support it. You have to actually change the code around, like what Tiger Sonolix did.
Tiger Sonolix.
I don't actually know how to pronounce his name. I don't know
Sonolix?
why.
I just say Sonolix.
Tiger whatever.
Tiger Sonolix. We just call him Tiger.
Okay. Yeah, what Tiger does. Here.
Tiger's on
You just
vacation
call him
right now, isn't he?
Mhm.
Hope Tiger's doing good.
You know, it's almost like outside, so I don't know.
I think you got like what, a week or two's worth of vacation. I'm not sure.
After that's right back to the mines.
So we back into mine. Sorry.
But I guess we'll answer both potential questions unless he clarifies it in a second. But
Was OBS.
ding. Yeah, you're not online right now, I think. Wait, are you? I have an ad. I can't tell.
I like how one side of the big test stream structure has stuff, but the other side is just
No.
empty plan that extends forever into the void. Yeah. There's just too much space.
I mean, you need a lot of space for a character that moves so fast.
Yeah, the eternal design problem of creating a fast character, just in general. Like, speed is one of the hardest things to like create a game around for obvious reasons.
It says we're reconnected.
Yeah, you're good now. I could watch.
Okay.
Hopefully everyone heard what I was talking about.
No, we did not.
The main reason why the bounce and the stomp are not connected at the same time. One, it's a relic of the older version of I+, how things used to be. And technically, I don't see it as a problem to stay the same. The main reason why we separated them is because, ironically, Sonic would, like, back then, Sonic would have been too powerful to have them both at the same time. Just due to how...
What do you mean by ironically? Is he, like, super weak now?
No, it's just like, it's not really ironically, it's just funny to say, like, Sonic would be too powerful. But, mostly because, like, it is sort of ironic because one of the reasons a lot of people had problems with the original Vanilla Infinity Engine is just how powerful Sonic is, like how much airtime he can get, how much he stays in, how long he stays in midair and stuff, how much he just flies over and bursts through everything. Like that's a big problem with the Vanilla Infinity Engine. And ironically, those abilities combined makes it worse. So in essence, it makes him more powerful.
Yeah.
But it's not like a huge deal or anything. Now it's a lot more toned back. You could do the abilities at the same time. It does clutter up the controller a lot more. You'd have to like restructure how things are laid out in the controller. Of course, if you got rid of the boost, you could just have the bounce on the boost button and the stomp on
that would be super easy to do.
Stomp button, you know. Things like that. It could be done, and it can be done. We did include gates inside of the abilities to prevent them from being used at the same time. So you can't stomp and bounce at the same time. You can't bounce and stomp at the same time. So I was gonna clarify, but Twitch broke. I mean, yeah, the stream died. Ever thought of an ability toggling mechanic? Yes, actually, we did. We did consider something like that. We figured it would be too niche of a thing to include. So we didn't implement it. You remember that, don't you, Emmanuel?
Maybe how long ago was this? Like, was this before Colorful Combat?
Yeah, this was like
It was
before.
a very long time ago.
This was like, I think, in between Forge and 3 and Knuckles. It was either in between Forge and 3 Knuckles, or it was before Forge. One of those two. Because the Forge update was whenever we included the bounce and a lot of those other abilities.
Yeah, that's true. And a pivot thing.
So it might have been before the Forge. It was like almost 2 years ago now. We did consider a toggle, like you press a button and it toggles between the two.
You know, I know what you're talking about now, like having different states. I was actually against that at the time because I thought, well, just having two explicit states would be kind of like, I just thought it would be kind of iffy to do, like mechanically to play with and also to implement.
Yeah, like an adventure state and a modern state, like a boost state.
Yeah, like I think that's just, it could be done.
It could be done, and it still can be done. It would require some hefty reworking of things, but it could definitely be done.
Yeah. I think it may be outside the scope of like what we're going to do, though.
And that's part of the reason I think we didn't go with it, is because it, like, even back then, it would have required a hefty rework of things. And we were just like, I don't really want to put the effort into doing that, because it wouldn't be beneficial enough, and it's such a niche mechanic that I don't think it would be useful enough to warrant doing.
Unless we balanced the entire engine, like that was a core mechanic of the engine, and we were like, we're not feeling it, you know?
Yeah, which we could have went that. Like, we could have went with that direction.
What about when you run a special ramp, it causes a reaction command to do tricks like colors? Aren't we adding that?
QTE?
I think that's what he means.
Like a quick time event? We are planning on adding quick time events. It's something that's on the list of things to do.
Yeah, it shouldn't be hard, just we never got around to it. Well, actually, we had a prototype version of that really early on, like around before Forge.
And it didn't work all that well.
Yeah,
that was something that Hess worked on, actually.
Oh yeah, it was Hess.
I remember doing that. It was ages ago with them.
Yeah,
Just couldn't get the string things to work properly at the
something
time.
like that. It's funny to think about, but when you think about it, in terms of the history, like someone was talking about, will we ever cover the history of our project? When you think about it, most of the project at this point, or at least half of it, is colorful combat.
Yeah, I would argue like good. I think my audio just cut out again.
Colorful Combat took us a year.
Yeah, a good chunk of. I would argue maybe like 40 to 30% of the project right now is colorful combat. Like, there's still a whole lot of stuff outside of colorful combat that we have included, but then again, colorful combat was just like a heavy focus on like two things: the colors and the combat. So, I don't know. To answer your question, Shiranui, maybe. The big concern with that is it'd be a little bit of work to do. I would have to drag out my old drive on my old PC, because I believe the drive on my old PC has the Forge project files on it still, I believe.
Oh yeah, because you updated the links, so the links wouldn't have it anymore, I guess.
Yeah, the project files are no longer available online. Like, I always replace them with the most updated ones, but I do
What
have...
about demos?
I think, no, I usually delete the demos. The demos are usually deleted. However, I do keep a copy of those project files every time we release them on my drive. So, like, right here you can see 3 and Knuckles. I have Infinity Plus 3 and Knuckles here. That is a copy of those released project files. The Infinity Plus, that's a 4.26 test. Those are actually colorful combat releases. One of them is 4.26, one of them is 4.24. So those are also copies of colorful combat project files that we've released. And I believe my old computer has copies of the Forge update. So we could make a video on older versions of I+.
Yeah, just to talk about them at least.
Well, there'll be custom animations for each character when completing the level. That's something we would like to do eventually, but that's going to be like near the end.
Yeah. I mean, who finishes levels in this game anyway? Come on.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
When I think about it now, like, okay, who do you think is the most like powerful overall character to play as in this game currently, or in this engine?
It's in terms of platforming capabilities. Obviously, no matter what you do, Tails will always be the most powerful because he can fly. If you don't count Tails, in terms of platforming, the most... You gotta define powerful in this situation, because even then, Knuckles can always climb, and climbing will always be able to... Unless the level design restricts it, climbing will always trump almost anything Sonic can do. Same thing with Tails is flying. However, I do think that even with super restrictive level design, Sonic and Shadow are the most flexible. Because if you set up their movesets just right, and you have the mechanical skill to do so, you can actually do a lot of really crazy shit with how you set up the controls and the mechanics. So I don't know, I wouldn't consider Sonic and Shadow to be the most powerful in terms of platforming, but they are probably going to be the hardest to design around, even more so than Tails and Knuckles, because unless you have a very specific moveset in mind, if you go into level design thinking like, oh, I'm gonna allow the player to choose what moveset they want, your level's going to be broken real quickly, because depending on the loadout that you choose with Sonic and Shadow, they can break shit real quickly. And to be like, I say that, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because it's not easy. Like, whenever we made Seagate, and I was speedrunning Seagate, and you could do it in like roughly a minute or so. That was using Sonic's abilities to break the level design, but that was hard. Like, it wasn't me like just flying over the level super easily, not having a care in the world. That was me expertly like trying over and over and over and over and over again, practicing using the mechanics to break the level.
Yeah, and it's fun.
Yeah, it was fun that way, obviously. So
yeah,
that's
kind of
what's,
like
that's what's nice about, even though like I would say Sonic isn't necessarily broken, he can break things, but you have to have the mechanical skill to do so. It's not like you press this button and you get a free game break, you know?
Yeah. With Tails, he can just fly over things. With Knuckles, he can climb anything. It's like your stream's good. Never mind. It just buffered. It kind of like, you could say that's kind of broken, but it's like the level design is what brings these characters in for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
We can try to, place in artificial limiters, but really Knuckles can't climb on certain surfaces. Tails can have artificial walls, and we could probably look at the Tails a bit more, maybe make his flight a bit slower if we have to. If we find that speed runs always just has Tails, But the way I see it, the characters are fairly balanced. Sonic obviously has the most moves still, but hopefully we can get that disparity down. Like Sonic still has the most fleshed out moveset simply because he just has enough moves to pull from.
Yeah, I do think with, like, even after we disable some of the advanced combat stuff, because like whenever we disable the advanced combat, Tails and Knuckles, they're not going to lose everything. Tails, I think, will still have the free flight. He'll still have the tornado spin and the tornado jump as well as the regular tail spin. Knuckles is still going to have the basic 3-punch combo. He'll probably still have the digging as well as
we should keep the digging,
the wall dash. They're like, even if because we've included the ability to disable the advanced combat if you want. You don't have to have the advanced combat active. But there's still some moves that we included in the Colorful Combat update for Tails and Knuckles that are going to stay, even if you disable the advanced combat. You'll have to go in there and disable them yourself if you still don't want them. But I do think that Tails and Knuckles are a little bit more fleshed out than we gave them credit for, just because the things we included, we often bundle with the advanced combat, even if it's not necessarily advanced combat. Like the tornado spin, the tornado jump, the digging, the wall dash. Those are additional abilities that aren't really additional combat moves, that are more so like base moveset moves that we have included for them, but we often bundle it with the advanced combat.
Yeah, well, because we developed it at the same time, so we just kind of in our brain space.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I asked the question because I just thought it would be an interesting talking point before we left, just to like say, where do the characters stand in our heads?
Yeah, I think, obviously, I still think that Sonic, mechanically speaking, is still the most expansive of them, even with the additional moves, the tornado spin, the tornado jump, and the bouncing of the tornado, the free flight. Knuckles is digging and wall dash. Even with those included, I still think Sonic is the most complex character and has the most abilities. But I don't think that Tails and Knuckles are pushovers either. I think they have some pretty decent abilities to
after one update they'll be set, I think, because considering the disparity in games, it makes sense. There's only so much we can do.
If anything, we could maybe include one, maybe two more additional abilities, like base abilities for Tails and Knuckles, or the Fly Parent and the Power Parent for them to use. Maybe. I wouldn't want to do it much more than that, because even though Sonic is super complex, it can be difficult to work with if you don't know what you're doing. And the nice thing about Tails and Knuckles right now is they do have some complexity to them, but they're still simple enough that you're able to like adjust things and not break everything in half,
Yeah.
So
I mean, more so just filling out the controller, because they still have buttons that aren't being used at all, which I want to get to eventually.
What about increasing bounce height when bouncing? That's something I elected to opt out of, because I saw it as just more restricting. That's something about Sonic games, or like the 3D games. It kind of always irked me, the fact that you had to sacrifice speed for height with the bounce. It was kind of annoying. I understand for balancing issues, that's how it was designed. Like it was designed that way to balance out the strength of the bounce. But I kind of just, to me, it didn't feel quite as good. It didn't feel as fluid to use to me as whenever I was younger. So I opted to do it. If you want to do that, you can. You just have to like set it up yourself. It's like a bounce counter that dynamically changes how high it launches you based on that counter. things like that. Which honestly wouldn't be super difficult to set up. I could even set it up as an option, which I might
if
do
we
someday.
get to it.
Yeah, if we get to it. If I get reminded about it, I might do it sometime.
Because
down the
people
road.
have asked multiple times, and it's like, well, if it takes like an hour to do, that'll be an hour spent. Well, honestly.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that huge of a deal, but I'm also just like, it's I don't know. All right.
I think we're about streamed out.
Just about, yeah. I'm gonna order some food. Is what I'm gonna do real quick. That way, it'll be on the way by the time we actually finish up.
All right.
I don't know if I'm gonna do any other project work today. I might stream again later on today, because I want to finish up Majora's Mask. We're pretty much done with it. All I gotta do is some additional side quests, and then gonna just go and actually complete the game.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know. I have to keep up with your streams, honestly. I didn't know you were playing.
Yeah, I've been streaming a lot recently. Like I posted in the self-advertisement like all the time.
I never look at that. That's my problem.
Wow.
As the restroom has taught us, streams must come to an end. I don't actually have to use the restroom this time. I have noticed that every time we end the stream, I usually have to run to the restroom at that point in time, but I don't actually have to do that right now.
Oh, speak for yourself, motherfucker.
Speak for yourself, motherfucker. You know what? Actually, I know what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get a chili dog.
That actually sounds kind of good.
Not Wendy's. Dairy Queen is the only place that fucking sells chili dogs. There is, ironically, Sonic sells chili dogs, and they're actually really good, but there are no Sonics around here.
I think there's one near my house, like maybe 10 minutes away. Also, thank you, Black Voids. We've been we haven't been doing as much recently because partially taking a break, partially trying to fix things, so it's not as noticeable. But thank you. It means a lot to us because we've been working on this for so long at this point, and we obviously care about this.
Yep. One thing I'm excited to actually get started on doing, related to I+, because there's other things I want to do outside of I+, I want to get to doing. I'm actually excited to try and get game jams going, or like level jams, you know?
Oh, that'll be cool.
Because like there's a couple of themes I have in mind that I would like to see and do. I just hope that, you know, other people... I hope it kind of catches on is the thing. It might not catch on is the problem. Like, people might not care to do it. But to me, because, like, one person I watch online quite frequently is Simple Flips, and he does level hack competitions, where people, like, hack Mario 64 with a theme, and then they hold a competition and, like, all the viewers vote to see which one they like the best based on, like, what it is that the hacks do. And I don't know if I want to make it a competition, because then, like, you know, I'd have to have an actual prize. Mm-hmm. And I'm not against doing that, but I don't like making everything a competition. But if people want it to be a competition, we could do it. But, like, it's always a super fun time, because you get to see so many people who are, like, really creative and really talented. Like, they take a single theme, and they do something different with it. Like, just like here recently, they're doing Simple Flips decided to do a music theme. Like, all the hacks have to be music themed or pseudo music themed, and like one person just made, like, you know, a fucking like a platforming stage with musical instruments as its theme. Another person fucking recreated Guitar Hero in Super Mario 64. Another person made a game similar to Rhythm Night, which was a 3DS game where, like, Mario runs through an area and you have to, like, either punch or jump to the rhythm of the song and stuff like that. There's a lot of really cool, interesting ideas, and, like, I think game jams or, like, competitions and stuff like that, especially whenever you allow people to have strong creative control, like, you go, like, all right, here's the theme, and then people do what they think is interesting with that theme. Like, if we made, like, for example, I considered Tails Adventure to be a theme, like, create a Tails Adventure styled level. People could do all different kinds of shit with that. It could be a Metroidvania style level, or it could be a level taking advantage of Tails' bombs. It could be a level expanding on Tails' flight ability, or something completely different. It could just be like a weird little story Tales Adventure murder mystery or something like that. You know? I don't know. People could make really cool random ass shit, and it would be interesting to see. And I think that, you know, a game jam could help allow people to flex their creativity as well as like showcase what it is that they can do. Because if we did a game jam, I would be streaming all of the levels, like every single one of them is a thing, and we would showcase them and we would show them off, not only showing what the project can do, but what people can do with the project, as well as what it is that people can do just on their own with their own, you know, creative input and shit like that. I don't know. I think it would be really cool and really fun to eventually do.
Yeah, I would like to do that. I think one thing we could do to Kickstarter maybe is like maybe eventually like make our own level and then like say, okay, this is our level for this theme. This is just an example. Okay, everyone else make their own. You have this amount of time. That way people can at least get an idea and have a template, I guess, what they want.
All right.
Because they may need a
stretch. But as you're
I
saying,
demand you stretch.
No,
I was just saying, like, to Kickstarter, we may have to make our own just to showcase, like, hey, this is how you would do it.
Welcome back. Ooh, hot dogs. I just thought of a cool, like, if we had a Wisp themed
That's what I was thinking too.
jam, one would be like, obviously you could do just a level themed around Wisps, but you could also do like a pseudo Metroidvania style level with Wisp, where like you use one Wisp to unlock another one and then another one, similar to like if you've ever played Spyro or Spyro 1, the final level in Spyro, which is a bonus stage, the goal is to collect a set amount of gems, and it's like a really high number of gems, but it's like just a fun, relaxing stage because it's like a little victory romp. But like,
oh, okay.
Once you get near the end, like the thing is you can fly freely, which normally you can't do that in Spyro levels. You can only glide, but the maximum height that you can fly to is the highest jump based off the highest ledge of the area that you unlock, and the only way to fly higher is to get enough gems to open a door to unlock a higher area so you can fly even higher throughout the stage. And it just progressively gets better and better, because like as you get to the end of the stage, you unlock the highest point, you can just now freely fly around anywhere you want on the stage, and it's really fun. So I'm just thinking of like a Wisp like stage, kind of like that, where you use Wisps to get to a new area, and then that next Wisp grants you even better traversal abilities to the next area. And then like as you progress, like the Wisp kind of just, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It would just be a really interesting, cool idea.
Yeah. Also, like, I just like those kind of levels in gems, especially like you're talking about Spyro. Like, I like levels towards the end that aren't necessarily hard, but are actually very liberating. And it's like, okay, show us what you can do. You've been playing this shit for a while. Like, I like that kind of stuff because it's like, all right, flex your muscles,
like
show off.
It's just a fun little time, right? Like it's a victory lap, is what it is, you know.
Yeah, I like victory lap themes in like games.
Oh, like imagine if someone, like if we did a Wisp type theme, and I know we had discussed this before, and we might do it with Whisper, I don't know, but like if you could have a Wisp inventory, and as you move on you collect Wisps, and instead of like you have to grab the capsule, like the first time you grab a Wisp capsule, like that Wisp is permanently added to your inventory, and you have to cycle through them and select a Wisp, you know.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Kind of like Kirby's Cave Adventure or something. It's something along those. Yeah, the Great Cave Offensive, I think, is what it was. Or was it that? Or was it the Milky Way Galaxy one? It was one of the game modes in Kirby All Stars.
Just go to Johnny Versus and he'll tell us.
Yeah. Like, those are some interesting ideas, and I'd like to see what people do with it, you know? Just like one simple level designed around this idea, and people can change the framework however they want to. Even
blueprints.
Yeah, blueprints change how the interfaces work, how the Wisps interact with the player, stuff like that. Like, they change it however they want to follow the theme. It just like just a very simple theme that they are able to make their own. It'd just be kind of fun, and I hope that eventually gets to that point.
Yeah, but we'll get there eventually.
Yeah. So probably once we release this next update, we will probably I'll try and start them. Whether or not this update is the final update or not, I might try and start doing the jams, because I think I+ has enough content in it now to warrant doing a jam. Like, it's not bare bones. There's plenty of stuff in here to work with now.
Sure, I knew he has another demand. He just wants you to run around the loop.
Run around the loop thingy? Oh, you mean the triple shuttle loop?
I guess. You just run through all of them real quick. I don't know.
One thing we noticed, one thing me, Reese, and Tiger Sonalex noticed is there is an actual function to shuttle loops in I+. Like, that's one thing about shuttle loops in Sonic games, is they don't really serve a purpose outside of Spectacle.
Oh, in 3D ones. In 2D, they actually can't help you gain speed.
In 2D games, they don't really. The 2D games they have a purpose, but in 3D games they don't really serve a purpose outside of Spectacle. But in I+, they can serve a purpose, especially if you stack them up like this. In 3D, you can actually boost through a triple shuttle loop system like this here. Oh, let me try. I kind of veered terribly with that. But here you can build up boost efficiency.
Oh, I actually never thought of that. They're going to say something like it allows you to build a speed, but
yeah, I mean the boost efficiency and the Mach state, it allows you to build the Mach state, which increases your speed. But the thing is you're able to build Mach state without going anywhere. It's like a time machine in Sonic CD. You're allowed to build Mach state. It's a Mach machine. You're able to build speed without actually going anywhere using the shuttle loops.
Dang it! The more you talk, the more you make me want to make a fan game revolving around a time travel mechanic in 3D. But I'm just gonna nip that in the bud.
Like, you boost into the shuttle loop, you go around like 3 shuttle loops at once.
Look at that boost efficiency. Also, nice wall jump.
That can really only be done if you're boosting, because like once you hit 66%, then you can actually make that jump. This jump is too far of a jump to make with just like 33 efficiency.
Yeah, you can do multiple wall jumps, but you slow down it massively as you do it. All right, we should probably just cut off the stream now, though, because I have to use the bathroom, and also we're going to keep going on tangents at this rate.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, unless you have anything. What about a classic Sonic model? We might include a classic Sonic model, but we're not going to do anything with classic Sonic. Like, we might just include his model and nothing else. Like, because I'm not.
Yeah, as a homage.
Classic. Yeah. Similarly to what we're doing with all the other characters, we're including these models and these skeletal meshes, but we're not going to do anything with them. If you guys want to do something with them, you can, but that's up to you. We'll probably do the same thing with classic Sonic, maybe even classic Tails, but that's a you guys issue, not us. But yeah, I think we're gonna call it good here.
Yeah, good stream.
Yep. This DevStream will be uploaded to YouTube on the 16th, which is actually the day I get my second shot and will be fully immunized.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And we will be back with the next DevStream on the 23rd.
All right.
So hopefully
I'll see y'all later.
Hopefully by then we'll have a whole lot more done. So Emmanuel is in the stream, but the stream is within him.
Hopefully I don't have to buffer.
Yep. You guys have a great day, and we will see everybody next time.
Bye-bye. See y'all.